One of the things that I love most about Tableau Prep is that there's so much that you can do without even writing a calculation, i.e. you can just point and click, and there's a lot of opportunities to clean your data. So that's what week 42 of Preppin Data in 2019 was all about. And so I'm going to go through that solution to show you just how easy it can be to clean up your data. So Chin and Beard Sudsco are looking to go global. They've got a number of different store locations that they're considering, the potential sales of those locations, and the cost of buying those locations. You may notice in this location field over here, there are some spelling errors, which we'll get to. And we've got another table here as well, which is giving us the currency and the conversion rates there. So it's likely that we're going to have to join these together at some point. If we have a quick look at the requirements, then there's the no typed calculation requirement. And then here's the requirement that we need to join these two tables together. This one here is quite important. It's that we've got to remove any of the rows where there are spelling errors, rather than using Tableau Prep's grouping functionality. And then we're on to more of the analytical requirements, where we only want there to be one store per zip code, and that one should be the one with the most sales, which makes sense. And we also want to remove any instances where the store cost is higher than the potential sales, because otherwise that wouldn't be logical. So let's go into Tableau Prep here. If we have a look at our data, then we can see that our currency conversion table, that's actually looking pretty clean. So we're probably not going to do anything to that. Let's go column by column to see what steps we need to take to clean up our other input data. So the location field has the city and the country all in one field at the moment, and that's separated by a comma. Now, if we're thinking about doing some analysis in Tableau Desktop, then usually it's better to have the city and the country as separate fields so that we can drag them into the view at different times. So we're going to want to split these up basically. If we go to the three dots on the location field, then we can choose to split those values. And let's go ahead, let's try and do an automatic split. That's not quite right. We had 4 fields before, and now we've got 5, so we've only got 1 extra field. We've only got information about the city being returned. So if we open up this little changes tab at the side here, we can just undo basically that change that we just made because it's not good enough. Great, so instead we're going to, in our drop down for split values, we're going to do a custom split. So our city is separated from our country by a comma. So let's type in a comma here and use that as a separator. And then we're going to split off all of the values in that column. So we want the city and the country to be returned. And great, now we have those two things. So let's rename these fields. I'll do that in a minute. So let's just escape from that. Cool. So we've got a recommendation here. And that's another cool thing about Tableau Prep. I think that this functionality is going to get so much better in the future as well. So our recommendation is to change the data role of our country to reflect the fact that it is a geographical country. So yeah, okay, we'll do that. And now we can see we've got some red exclamation marks that have appeared. And that's actually highlighting for us the spelling errors, which we were told in the requirements to filter out. So great. If I click on each of the rows here that has an exclamation mark next to it by holding down Control to select them all, then we can exclude these 3 rows from our data. So at the moment we've got 20 rows, but when we hit the exclude button, now we have 17. Great, that's worked well. Now we can rename this field to be country. Now, we haven't got a recommendation to do the same for city, but luckily there is a way to do it. If we click on the data type up here, we can see it's a string at the moment. But if we go down to the data role, then we can say geographic and say city. And again, we've got those exclamation marks that we're going to exclude, which is really useful way of filtering out those spelling errors, basically. So we'll rename this city. And we'll just have a look at what adding those geographic roles has done for us if we were to say preview in Tableau Desktop. So we'll just wait for Tableau Desktop to load here. Here it comes. And now we can see that we've got those little geographic globes next to city and country. So if I just double click on country, then you can see, there you go, it's brought up a map automatically. We've got our United States and Mexico there. That's worked exactly the way we wanted it to. So now that we've got our location all tidied up, we don't actually need this field. So we're going to remove it. Great, let's go on to cleaning another field now. So if we look at our potential store location, this is just zip codes. That all looks quite clean at the moment. If we come along to our store potential sales and our store cost, we can see that for each of these, we've got the sales and the currency in the same field. That means that if we wanted to do any kind of numerical analysis on these numbers, we couldn't, because it's a string field at the moment. So I think that what we're going to want to do again is to split both of these fields into two. So let's try our automatic split. I'm ever the optimist. Okay, great, that's worked well. Let's do the same for store cost. Awesome, we've got two columns again. So we'll get rid of those initial columns because we've got all that information splitted out into those separate columns. Now let's look at the currencies. They look remarkably similar from this profile pane, don't they? They've got 3 rows here, 3 rows there. But how do we check if they're the same? They're exactly the same. Well, let's click on the Mexican, for example, and we can see that that highlights the entire row here as well. So 100% of what we've clicked on over here is being shown over here as well, which means that they're the same field basically. And we see the same as well for the US dollars. So that means that we can just simply delete one of these columns because they're exactly the same. Great, let's just rename that to currency as well. Now we've also got these other 2 columns that were split off, our cost and our potential sales, and we can see their data types changed to numeric. So now we can actually do interesting things with them, which is great. They will now be measures in Tableau. So let's just get rid of the split one in the name because that's useless information. And our data's looking a lot tidier now. Great, I think we're ready to do the joining part of the challenge. So we'll just drag this step from currency conversion up to the join up here. And automatically, Tableau Prep has decided to join on the currency, which is great actually, because that's exactly what we wanted it to do. We're still at 13 rows. And we can see that we've got an extra column here where the currency from this table has come through. And then that conversion rate, the value in US dollars, has also appeared. So all we're going to do here is just get rid of that extra column, the currency -1, because that's just the duplicate. So whenever there's dash a number after a column, it's been duplicated basically from a join. So we're pretty safe to get rid of it once we've checked it out. Awesome. Now we want for each of our zip codes, only the store with the maximum potential sales. So we're going to group by our potential store location using an aggregate step. And we're then going to take the maximum potential store sales. And we can see that now we've only got 12 rows, whereas before we had 13. So how do we make this filter apply to filter out the extra store? Well, we actually take our aggregate step and we drag it back to the step before, the join before that, and join those two together. And now if we see that if we were to join on the potential store, potential sales, then we would see that we're having 1 row excluded now, and that it's only our 12 stores that have the maximum potential sales that are coming through. So we can check which one's being excluded. Okay, it's a store in San Francisco. That seems right. Now, we've only got one more requirement to do, and that is to exclude all those stores that have a store cost that is higher than the potential sales. This has you kind of screaming out for a calculation. But what's another way to exclude rows? I mean, we've just done it by joining, so maybe that's something that we can try again. So we'll add an extra step so that we can join our data to itself again. And we're going to say, we're going to start off by joining on store location, because that's kind of the lowest level of detail at the moment. Sorry, potential store locations. And then we're going to say we want our store cost to be lower than our store potential sales. And we can see that we've got 2 rows being excluded there, which matches our desired output that had 10 rows and 7 fields. So all that we've got left to do is to get rid of some of those extra fields. So we're just going to come through and we're going to delete those, anything that's got a dash and a number after it, because those are our duplicated fields. And then that's all that we need to do for this challenge. We've managed to clean everything up, and it may have had a caching error here, but don't worry, if we go back to the previous step, we can see that this is the table that we wanted it to return, just with a few extra columns still in it. So I hope you enjoyed this click-along solution and can see just how easy self-service data prep can be with just a few clicks. So thanks for watching.